This is how to create customizable key binds for your Roblox game. First, you need some UI. Then add a local script and name it. Just delete the print statement and start coding. We will need a variable to detect the user's inputs. Next, we need to get our UI elements to access the buttons which we will use to let the game know when we want to change a key bind. After that, we will make a table to store the data of our key binds. Inside, we will add another table and add 3 properties to it: the button for the player to switch the key bind, the actual key for the action to activate, and the action itself. Since we have 2 buttons, I will copy-paste this table and switch the properties. Now we make a function to update the text when the key bind changes. With a parameter of index which will be used to know which text on one of the 2 buttons the function will change. Make a variable for what the text should be when the function is activated. The right side will activate if we are changing a key bind. The left side activates when the actions key is unknown. It's basically a shorter if statement. This is the condition, and this activates when it is true. Set the text to the button, and that's it for this function. Now we loop through the actions and use the function we just created. Create a function so that when we click the button, the code inside reverses its visible value, making it appear or disappear. Create a variable to track which key will be set. We will use this in a second. Make another function to detect when the player has pressed a key. There are 2 parameters we will use for this function: input, or the interaction of the player, and game processed event. This is a boolean that detects if the player interacts with one of Roblox's default UI elements. Make a check to see if it was a game processed event or the player interacted with the game not using a keyboard. Check if setting key 4 has a value and make a variable to know what the player pressed, and add a loop to go through the actions table again and check if I is not the same as setting key 4, and the other actions key is equal to new key. Set the other actions key to unknown and update the text. Below the loop, let's set the configuration of our action to the new key, and update the text to setting key 4, then turn setting key 4 back to nil. Now, make an else statement. We will use this to make the player do the action when the key is pressed. Add 3 variables, 1 for the player being affected, 1 for the player's model, and 1 for the player's humanoid. Check if the humanoid exists, then make a loop to go through the actions and check if the inputs key code is equal to the actions key and the actions key is not set to unknown. Then, make the humanoid do the action function in our actions table, then add a break statement to end the loop, and that's it for this function. Make one last loop that goes through the actions and make another function that detects if one of the action buttons got clicked, and inside, set setting key 4 to the index and set the text to whatever you like. And now we're done. But I forgot to rename the reference for the button on the script that I copy and pasted earlier. Now we can test our code. We can now see that we are able to perform the actions when the specific key is pressed. And we can change that key bind to whatever key we want. If you would like more actions than just 2, we would need to copy-paste this section in the actions table again and change the properties, and don't forget to make another button for it. Now we can see that the 3rd button works like the other ones in the menu. That's it for now. Hope you learned something, and goodbye.